Dylnn's log, 2011-07. So we were in the debris field waiting for the planet to come through so we could just drop down in as a piece of meteorite kind of deal. As we're doing so, we're doing passive scans on the planet to see what we can about it. There is an equatorial region that is all jungle. And then north and south of that are some forested areas and savanna and then tundra as you get towards the poles. Most Kzinti villages seem to be along that border between the jungle and the forest. Obviously along rivers and such and that sort of thing. There's no evidence of any habitation within the equatorial zone, but we do spot what probably was a spaceport at one point with a large metropolis attached to it, all degraded and overgrown and that kind of thing. I do also notice a number of shuttles coming off of the space station going to the planet. I think we saw 5 that launched. 3 of those dropped behind the horizon. We couldn't watch them, but 2 we were able to follow. The first one landed near a Kzinti village. 4 Corellians in powered armor come out and escort 2 what we assume to be officers because wearing uniforms, that kind of thing. They go into the village. Everybody in the village kind of backs and hides out. We also see some movement off into the forest. An old Kzinti guy comes out and speaks with the Corellian. The Corellian seems obviously upset, like he's demanding something from them, and the old cat guy doesn't have what they're looking for. One of the guys in powered armor turns on one of the huts, just flames it down, and then they leave. The other one landed in the jungle area in a small opening. And they set up some kind of camp with heavy weapons on the perimeter and that sort of thing. There's a few officers there as well because they're not doing anything while the camp's being set up. But then they grab firearms and they truck off into the jungle. So there's a fair amount of active Corellian activity happening here on the planet. I'd like to know what they were trying to get from that Corellian village, though. Kind of hoping that it might have something to do with not minerals, but plant-like stuff that they're getting from the planet. So maybe that might be a key to what we're looking for to combat the drugs. So as we're making planet fall, my idea is to act like a meteor until we get to where we want to land. We're looking for a place to land as well. We also want to be near a Corellian village. But I kind of would like to be, somewhere nearish one of those. Oh, I didn't mention that. Within the jungle zone across the planet are a handful of these huge craters. The vegetation started to grow back up through them. Kind of figure they're crash sites. So we would like to check one of those out. So we're trying to triangulate all these different things we want within, okay, where can we land? We know when all these things nearby. But on the riverways are these fishing boats. Ronald actually spotted a large ocean-going sized sailing ship. So we're thinking, well, if we land, under the canopy of the jungle, we're going to be way too far away from any villages. So the next thought was, well, what if we landed in the water, submersed? That way we'd be less detectable from the Corellians if they're scanning for anything. Plus, we wouldn't be seen by the Kzinti either. And so we don't want to do it on a river because there's river traffic, right? So we're looking for a lake near a Kzinti village that is opposite of the space station and hopefully somewhere near one of the crack sites. We find one, and as we're coming in, we end up blowing right by it. We have to put on the brakes, and then circle back around to the lake. And while we're doing this, we've got the scopes on. We're all looking for things. And as we're coming close to the lake, I spot a Kazinti herder with like a herd of goat-like creatures. He's laying down, or he's a lean-to kind of thing. I can see his feet sticking out, that kind of deal. But he doesn't seem to be noticed that we're there. And we submerge in the lake. We pop off one of the sensor drones, circle around the lake, looking for stuff. There's lots of wildlife, I kind of think, because it's a lake, right? Get over to where the Kazinti guy is. He hasn't moved, so apparently he didn't notice us. Move down the stream, the river, and then up the river or down the river to the village is the plan. When we hit the stream, though, I spot this group, not a herd. There's like 10 of these large herbivore animals. I call them cows. But just over the hill from these cows are 3 predators, large wolf-like kind of creatures. And as I'm watching, 2 of them separate and come back around the far side, opposite ends of the group, and the middle one just tears off towards them. Okay, guys, come watch this. Tears off towards the herd. The herd freaks out, starts running all over the place, and the other 2 are there to help trap one of the slower ones, right? And they do. They take it right down. And you would figure that after that happened, the cows would kind of slow down, but they don't. They continue to scatter. And I notice one that seems to be acting erratically. And as we're watching it, it just goes down, like it tripped over something. And then his guts start to spill. And then Renaud notices that every once in a while, the view of the cow gets all hazy, like a mirage. And we're starting to think, okay, maybe this is a Kazinti or even a Corellian in some kind of a sneak suit kind of thing, who just took advantage of the situation to take down a cow, right? So I can pack it up or whatever. So I'm watching because I'm looking to see if this thing gets gutted and then, actually gutted and then it starts piecing out, then we know it's a person doing it. If it's just shoot on it, some kind of an animal. But as we're watching, we see these 2 kittens of those cat things with the tentacle deals we see on every strange planet we've ever been on come out. So these cat creatures have some kind of ability to go invisible. The little kitten thing, they attack at it and then they start chomping and stuff. Holy cow! I gotta keep track of all this, especially these weird cat creatures. So sensor drone was down the river, or down to the river, and then down to the village. It's a standard rustic kind of village. They do have stone foundations with mortar. There's a large pathway that goes parallel to the river, and there are buildings on both sides of that. There's a second pathway that intersects that major pathway that goes up into the hills, and they're building on both sides of that. Down by the river is a dock and a boathouse and some kind of a shop. There's actually lights in the shop. In fact, there's some lights in some of the buildings as well. Near the crossroads is a very large building. There are some planted fields of crops and some empty animal pens near the village as well. Oh, and upstream there is a water mill with a diversion. That large building by the crossroads is the only 2-story building in the village. So we bring the drone back from down the top of a tree near the village, near the lake, excuse me, and set up for doing passive scans. Look for metallics in the air to see if anybody's flying over. And we try to tune it to look for bipedal humanoid types on the ground coming near the lake because we don't pick up all the animals and stuff. And the next morning, we pack up and go out. We set up a run-in line from the airlock to some vegetation that's near the water line, like some tree where the edge had eroded away, so you got roots there, so we could tie off the rope underneath the water so it's not visible, and we just use the rope line to go back and forth. And we're wearing the environmental combat body armor with the coolant units so we can survive in this place. And heavy armor is a good thing too. I got my Gauss rifle and my blaster pistol, heavy blaster pistol, and always carry my vibro knife. I've also got that duralloy knife I had made on the bug planet. That should be pretty interesting. And we've got some sacks and things to gather up stuff because we're going to try and gather plants as we move along. So we head down the village. We come to where we meet the pathway going north south along the river edge, and Ronald starts to say something when I get hit in the side by something. So I turn and look, and he says, "There's a hunting blind over there," and we're looking, and yeah, I can see where it is now. And so I bring up my Gauss and I aim in on the guy to see what he's doing. Let him know that I see him. And once he kind of sees that, his eyes go wide. He ducks down into the log barricade that he has set up in there. And I stay on him for a good, couple seconds, long seconds, right, to make sure he knows that I'm aiming on him. I know he's there. I could kill him if I wanted. And then I sling down the Gauss rifle and we continue on. Well, actually, go to the radio, I guess it is. As we're going down the village. But as we're getting closer to the village, I got one of the 3-point harnesses with the Gauss rifle, so it's just hanging down, so I can pull it up if I need to. And we head on down the pathway. I was good within sight of the village. There's a barricade set up across the pathway there, and I keep the rifle loose slung with my hands up as I continue to walk forward. I'm afraid that they're going to want to take our weapons in order to come into the village, and I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm not sure how this whole interaction is going to do, but my intent is to put up, hey, we come here in peace, but you mess with us, I will take you down. Within like 20 feet of the barricade, and the Kzinti guys shout something at us. There's 4 of them behind the barricade with those crossbows. And then there's a handful behind them with these war spears. Not hunting spears, nice and thin, but these have got nice, broad, long heads that have that dull duralloy look to them. Which is really interesting because how are they cutting those? But they shout something at me, so I stop and I ask in Carillion, can anyone understand me? I thought there's some reaction with the Carillions and the Kzinti, and one of them makes some aggressive moves at us, and another one, backhands him kind of thing, and shouts at some of the other ones, and one of them runs off. And so I'm just waiting there. The other guys are behind. They're all behind me. Their weapons are at the ready. And from the village comes this palanquin with a really old Kzinti sitting on it. And there are 2 Kzinti, huge Kzinti, carrying it. It's not a palanquin forward, so there's one in front, one in back, but it's side to side. So they're all coming together. And they actually come around the barricade, so they're on my side of the barricade, and the two big Palaquin bear guys are all ducked out in scale armor, and they have these gauntlets with like these claw blade things on them. So once they're on my side, I go ahead and sit down cross-legged, lay the Gauss rifle on my lap, so hands free. I go ahead and start taking my helmet off. At that, the Kazinti just starts hissing and making all kinds of ruckus, and the two big Kazinti guard guys in front jump up in the air. What's going on? And thankfully, the guys behind me are going, okay, well, what's going on? But they actually jump backwards behind the barricade. And I put the helmet down, and the old Kazinti guy in the Paladin chair gets this kind of look on his face. And not an aggressive look, more like a sad or relieved kind of look, oh, kind of deal. But anyway, he starts to speak, and he's speaking fluent Carillion. And he says, with what I assume is some kind of sarcasm, so you finally threw out the Carillions. No, I haven't thrown out the Carillions. He asks what we're doing here. And I tell him that we are searching. I do this we thing a lot when I'm talking with him because we're not Carillions. So I took my helmet. I am not Carillion. As you can see, I'm not Carillion. But he figures I'm a Rand. I figured this out after a while. I tell him that we are here searching for medicine and to establish dialogue with the Kazinti. He starts talking about how the Kazinti have been at war with the Rand. Why would they want to deal with us? They're cowards, that kind of thing. They come here mewling for help, that kind of deal. And I tell him that I am not a Rand. I am not from here. And that kind of catches his attention. There's something else going on. But eventually he tells us to come back tomorrow. So as soon as they go back, I stand up, put my helmet on, turn around, let's go. And as we're heading back to the ship, we're gathering up more plant species things, just a variety of stuff. See if we can't analyze this stuff and fine tune what it is we're looking for. So we get to the ship and we start analyzing this. Or Dr. Smith starts analyzing all this stuff, and it turns out that one of the plant species that I picked up is within this funnel of fauna that we're looking for. So we fine-tuned down to this family of plants kind of deal, which thank goodness is going to save us a ton of time. So we fine-tuned the sensors on the probe on the fauna side to look more specifically for this family of plants. And then we wait until the space station's on the far side of the planet. The sky is clear. We pop up 10,000 feet, do some active scans for the whole area as far as we can see. So we're pulling on all the flora and the fauna, the hydro, and the geological mapping of the area. And as we notice, there are a number of these subclimates that are similar to the jungle that would then meet the growth criteria for the family of plants that we're looking for. So, and so there are a handful of these subclimate areas that are between us and the village. And so our plan is for tomorrow, after we do the active scans, pop back down, get in the lake. The plan is to hit these spots on the way to the village, get some more samples, right? Try and fine tune what we're looking for some more. So we hit them as we hit the pathway. We head south on the path, and there is no blockade this time. But as soon as we get to the village, oh, there's 3 Kzinti there at the village, an older guy and 2 young ones. I mean, when I say young, I mean younger than him. He's obviously some kind of veteran. He's got scars all over himself. He's got a sword. He's wearing a necklace with uh, teeth and claws of some kind of large predator. Reminds me of the old Kzinti had a necklace with like saber-toothed tiger-sized fangs on it, and these um, uh, razor teeth, like shark teeth things on it. And Robin mentioned that those look like the what's on the pads, those tentacles of those cat beast things. I didn't realize that there were teeth kind of things. I knew they had those pads. I didn't realize they had teeth things on them. Holy cow. Shred stuff up. Anyway, so there's these 3 Kzinti. The escort us in. As soon as, within speaking distance, I go ahead and I take my helmet off. And the 2 young Kzinti came. There's something about taking the helmets off. I've got to figure out what that's all about. And, I just sling it kind of thing. And the rifle's all slung, that kind of deal. So we go into the villages. We're walking the village. People are all boarded up in their houses, and they're hissing and cat calling at us and that kind of thing as we're moving through town. We get to the that big house at the crossroads and go on inside. It's obviously a gathering hall of some kind. There's a number of nooks along the side for like sleeping. It's not packed, but it's full of Kzinti. Most of them are male. There's a handful or 2 of females. The far end is a table, 4 pillows on the floor in front of it. The old Kzinti guy sitting in a chair next to the table. And I look around, and there's some weapon racks in here. So I take out my Gauss rifle, put my helmet on the barrel, and sit down next to one of the weapons racks. And everybody else kind of looks around. The rest of the party looks around. Robin and Tindo are very hesitant about leaving their rifles here, but Reynolds follows suit pretty well, and that elicits a reaction from the Kzinti. They're obviously surprised, and you can almost see a sort of happy or pride like visage from our actions. So we go up. The old Kzinti guy kind of does this kind of thing to the pillows. We move up. Thank you. We sit down. Some females bring out trays of food, and they just kind of put it on the table and run off. And the female, nearly all the females are ignoring us. There is one younger female who seems to keep spying and looks at us and is caught staring at us by one of the males and gets cuffed. But when the females run off, the old Kzinti guy looks like he's got a look of disgust on his face, shaking his head kind of deal, and gets up. And he is obviously worn out and walks over the table and goes to the tray. And so his 2 bodyguard guys are helping him, and they're grabbing trays too. And that gives him another look of disgust. And they put the trays down in front of us. And he goes back, they help him back to his chair, sit him down. And Reynald, afterwards, Reynald's talking about, it's obviously that there's some sign of a weakness, that he needs help, and that's not a good thing, because there's actually a reaction in the group behind us as well. So the old cat guy is losing face here, which is not a good thing. All right. So on these trays are a variety of meats. Most of them raw. Some of them maybe cooked or at least warmed up. We're going to get sick. We're going to get sick. So I start looking for something that looks like fish and has a texture of fish. So I figure if anything that's going to be, safer to eat raw, it will be fish. I also look for something that may become very, very, very thin, because that might be a sign of easy digestion. And then, we all eat something. Luckily, well, when Cajun reaches out to get some, there's a reaction from all the Kazinti, and Robin was, oh, don't do that, don't do that, and keep your looks down. Oh, that's right. Females aren't on the same level as males here. They shouldn't be interacting directly. And so Tendo says, "Oh yeah, I can play that role." And Alba falls asleep while he's sitting there. Alba falls asleep while she's sitting there. The old cat guy says there is no word in Carillion for welcome. You know, they are uncivilized. So yes, they are savages. He says, "So you come seeking our help?" I tell him, "No. That I am here to set up a dialogue with the Zinti. It's possible the Zinti may be able to help us with this medicine that we're looking for." He mentions again they've been at war with the Rand, that the Rand can't be trusted, you know, that kind of thing. And he says, "Are your people warriors?" And I said, "Well, you know, lots of my people are warriors, but not all of them." And I'm starting going into this kind of deal, and he gets this look on his face, and it occurs to me that he's not asking that. He's asking something more specific. There's some kind of deep cultural significance to this, and that it could be setting me up for something. And that's when I start thinking, oh damn, they're going to get me into some kind of single combat deal to show our worthiness to, you know, be with them and for them to help us or whatever. And he asks if we are warriors again, and I say, and I stand up. I say, I am. And I'm thinking back, you know, my combat training and my hand-to-hand skills and my knife fighting drills, and you know what I could do. But I'm also thinking about the stuff that Maliki has taught me. That I can blur my visage, makes me harder to hit. That I can actually go invisible. And well, that's got to be the key to me winning any kind of fight. To blur myself and then go invisible to whoever I'm fighting, get around behind them and make these back attacks, to keep recasting the invisibility if I have to. So I'm thinking I might actually be able to pull this off. And I'm thinking about Reynald and you know, fighting I've seen him doing and that kind of stuff, because he can hold his own. And then the old Kazinti guy asks if I'm seeking standing by trial. And he talks about trials and paths. And I say to him that the Great Spirit often puts us on paths that we need to follow. It seems to give him pause. And then I say, yes, I am seeking standing by trial. And he seems pleased with that. And he says that there will be a challenge among the warriors for the right to compete against me and to go and prepare myself. What have I gotten myself into? In personal log. Okay, so you guys who are watching this, not just for the story, but for some RQ3 kind of stuff, because that's the engine we use to run this game. During this session, there were a number of special successes, which really helped with a number of things. In fact, I got a critical success on my xenobiology, which is what got me the sample that shrunk that funnel down on the plant life we're looking for the cure for the treatment for the drug use. That was really, really handy. Also got some decent successes on my culture. That's not culture. There's a cultural skill that, you know, I've got fairly high in, to be able to get these cues on what the Kazinti are feeling and how they're acting and interpreting that, which really helps. So obviously putting the weapons against weapons rack was a plus in their eyes. Being able to understand that when he's asking for warriors, he's actually trying to get to something specific, was another one of those successes. Oh, when we're flying in. the the pilot would have fumbled. He rolled a 99. Well, actually, we rolled 99 for him because that player wasn't here. But the ship we have has an AI, and while we from the CSA know that, the two local guys don't, and obviously AI, psionics, that kind of stuff is taboo almost everywhere. So we want to keep that secret from them as long as possible. But she can augment his flight skill, get him below that fumble level. Only 2%, so that was in range. So that brought his skill level up to where he didn't fumble. But so that's why we shot past the lake. We fumbled this. We're just gonna plant into the ground. We missed flying correctly to the planet. Bam. What else? Rules wise. Oh, the number of special successes on those scans as we're trying to find stuff to see the kid with the ghost, to see the erratic behavior of the cow things, and the one getting taken down, and the haze thing, that was a special success on Ronald's part. So that's how the mechanics all feed into the story and the stuff that we're relaying here. All in all. So happy gaming.